Well, I had the evening mass yesterday, and it occurred to me, really right before we were starting, that it was at Lourdes that the Blessed Mother revealed herself as the Immaculate Conception to Saint Bernadette. And here we are at Our Lady of Lourdes. So how wonderful it is for us to celebrate this feast day in honor of Our Lady under the title of the Immaculate Conception at Our Lady of Lourdes Parish. It's wonderful. Now, has anybody ever been to France? Anybody ever? A few. Oh, good. Yeah, there were a few people last night too. So let me give you a little trivia, a little tidbit of information. They sell less deodorant per capita in France than in any other country in the European Union. And even as early as 1854, the Blessed Mother recognized that that was a problem. Now think about it. She goes to Tepeyac in Mexico. That feast is coming up in a couple of days. She goes to Fatima in Portugal, maybe Medjugorje. And what does she tell the people? Build me a church. Pray the rosary. Pray for the conversion of Russia. Do penance for the reparation of sin. She goes to Lourdes, and what does she tell Saint Bernadette? Bathe in the water. Look it up. You can Google it. So, now I forgot what I was really going to say. So, Mary received a very special grace. The Immaculate Conception means that she was conceived without original sin. All of us are born with original sin that comes to us through the fall of Adam and Eve. And so when we are baptized, one of the effects of baptism is that original sin is washed away. Now, Mary is unique. She received a unique favor from God, being born without original sin, because God was already preparing her to be a worthy mother to his son, Jesus. Mary, in a way, is sort of the original tabernacle. The body of Jesus dwelt within her womb for 9 months until he was brought to birth. So that had to be a pure, a pristine place worthy of housing the Son of God. And so in his plan, God preserved Mary from the stain of original sin in view of her role later in salvation history. Now, that grace of God, in her case, was a unique thing. But all of us receive grace from God. I was having a wedding one time, and in the sacristy, the best man asked the groom, "Are you in a state of grace?" You know, and God gives us, pours out upon us graces throughout our lives. The angel, when he appears to Mary, says, "Hail, full of grace." And now get that, from that line, from that verse, develops the whole theology of the Immaculate Conception. Hail, full of grace. Well, how could she be full of grace? She was immaculately conceived. God gave her that. Okay. Hail, full of grace. My friends, we also are full of grace when we're baptized. We become full of grace when we celebrate the sacrament of reconciliation. We are full of grace when we receive the Lord in the Eucharist. We are full of grace when we are confirmed, when we marry, when we're ordained, when we receive anointing of the sick. In all of these under all of these sacramental actions, we receive an infusion of God's grace, helping us to resist temptation, right? Oscar Wilde, the English author, once said, "Temptation is the one thing I can't resist." But the grace of God can help us to resist temptations. It also is given to us to help us to manifest the presence of Christ in the world through what we say, through our actions, our good deeds, make Christ a tangible reality in the world, because we're also making up his body here on earth. So let's ask Mary today, on her feast day, to intercede for us that we be made full of grace when we receive the Eucharist in a few minutes, and that we, with Mary, will live for Jesus and make Jesus present to the rest of the world.